Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Welcome to New Life Live. Larry Sonnenburg here, sitting in for Steve Arterburn. And I'm with Milan Yerkovich.
Hey, Larry.
And Joe Hubbard. Hi, Joe.
Hello,
Dr.
Larry.
Joe Hubbard.
Hello.
We last saw each other on Saturday.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, Saturday was a memorial service for Dr. Dave Stoop. Mm-hmm. And it was really touching. It was good. And you both each spoke at it. Steve eulogized him, and I feel like we're turning a page.
Yeah.
You know, that
a page we don't want to turn, but there are so many chapters in life, right?
Yeah, there are. But, you know, these books are sitting out on the Soul of a Hero books are sitting out here, and
I know, I'm so happy.
Made me think of Dave.
This. Yes.
He not only is the author with Steve of this book, but Dave was a hero.
He was.
Mm-hmm.
He lived an incredibly...
And I was amazed, you know, as Steve was rattling off all the things. I mean, I knew Dave had been involved in a lot of things, but so much more. Like, he is really someone that is unassuming, right? That you don't realize how much he has done and given to people and given to us.
Dave has always been very understated.
Yes,
he
is
And,
understated.
Yeah, and so you wouldn't know many of these things. And but it was a turning of a page, but it was incredibly honoring, I believe, to David and to Jan and the boys, her sons that were there, and the grandkids. I thought the whole event was beautiful, but it was highly emotionally evocative. It just pulled out a lot of emotions. I was exhausted in the afternoon I went home, and it just is hard to say goodbye to a friend.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's saying goodbye, but he's keeping him here, right? Or us keeping him here in our hearts.
Right.
And he'll live out through our show here, right? Because he was such a big part of it for so long.
Well, speaking of turning the page, I want to talk about intimacy in marriage. That's coming up at the end of July.
That's a big page turner.
And one of the things...
How do you do that?
Just like Larry just did.
Yes,
He just did. He just said...
Good segue, Larry.
Here we go.
We could talk all hour about Dave. But
we could.
We want to encourage engaged couples to come to intimacy in marriage.
That is so cool because so often I have thought about it. What a great way to start your marriage is to get on the same page, right? Right from the get-go, before all of those bad habits leak in.
Milan, speak to that a little bit about an engaged couple coming.
Well, traditionally in these workshops, marriage couple, was only for married couples, and but with the Zoom meetings that we had for the last year, people were able to come even as individuals or as engaged couples, or people thinking about getting engaged, and some people thinking about getting divorced. We had the whole spectrum of where people were. But I think people could understand it was really a great, as you just said, Jill, a great way to face really what a marriage is. Tomorrow night we're speaking at a local church here in Southern California, and our talk is entitled "When Two Histories Collide," and that is
what happens.
And that is the truest.
Nobody tells you that, right?
No, but that is the truest definition of what a marriage is. You have these two. We think of each other as current, present day individuals, but we have a history that we have with us, and it's not a bad thing. But it just is more complex.
Yeah.
And so when we learn those histories, we can really learn to love one another in a very different way.
Well, we're going to talk about that and other things that provoke us to speak about. Call us 800-229-3000 if you'd like to be on.
I came into this thinking that my husband was the cause of many of our issues.
The New Life Intimacy and Marriage Workshop is coming to Washington, D.C., July 23rd to the 25th.
But after learning about our attachment styles, I understood how our past hurts were playing into our present problems.
Join Steve Arterburn.
It's been a dream of mine for a long time to help people to grow more intimately together, and we believe that everybody has room to grow in the intimacy level of their life.
And Milan Yerkovich.
We help couples understand how their attachment style is sabotaging their current relationship. And then we teach them how to create comfort in a relationship.
And New Life's group counselors will help you focus on the area that will benefit your marriage most. To register or to find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Here at this workshop, we had our first ever conversation without yelling, blaming, and accusing.
1-800-NEW-LIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Okay, we're back with Dr. Joe Hubbard and Milan Yerkovich and myself, Larry Sonnenburg. We mentioned Soul of a Hero before the break. It's a gift that we'll give to anybody who makes a gift to New Life this month, any size gift.
And it's a book written by Steve Arterburn and Dave Stoop.
It is, and I'm very eager to read it. Just talked to Becky Brown earlier today. She said she read it. She wanted to know what I thought, and I couldn't tell her because I haven't read it yet. So the pressure's on.
All right.
Okay, let's go. Let's talk with Anna. Anna's on line 2. She's in Middletown and Idaho, and listens on the app. How can we help you?
Yes. Hi. How are you guys?
Great, thank you.
Good. I'm calling you guys because I think that you are just the best counselors in the whole world. And I'm just seeing, if you guys could counsel me in my situation.
Well, tell us what it is.
So I've been married 23 years. We were married 10 years, separated, divorced. I realized my husband was in porn and addicted pretty bad during our separation, so he went to Every Man's Battle in 2013, and we remarried before he went to Every Man's Battle. But this past year, he's been accusing me of flirting and looking at men and that I'm cheating, and I just was really puzzled by it for a while, and I just thought it was because of his past hurt. But now I feel like it's just emotional abuse, and I've counseled with my pastor and stuff, and I just feel like God's leading me to divorce, and he doesn't want to work on things or go to a conference with you guys, and so we are going through the divorce process right now. So I was just seeing what you guys thought, and I am trying to sign up for, is it Recovery for Women?
Restored.
That's the one?
Restore.
Yeah, I am signing up for that for a week and a half from now.
Good. So what do you guys think?
You know, Anna, it sounds like your whole marriage has been very, very challenging. And, you know, to be separated, divorced, then remarry, etc., is really, it just yanks your emotional chain, and I'm just so sorry about it. We cannot know precisely what your husband's motivations are or why he might be moving toward this direction of accusing you, or have you ever asked him what he's feeling when he tells you that, Anna?
Yeah, he's always felt like he wasn't the person I should have married, that he's not good enough for me, that he's failed me, that I would be better with someone else. And I think he truly believes that. And his, before we met, he had a girlfriend that he was engaged to that broke up with him. And then he did catch his girlfriend with another guy. And then he did cheat on his best friend with his girlfriend. So all that had happened before we met at church.
So a lot of times we project our behaviors or our thought patterns onto other people. We think, well, they would do the same thing I would do, or, because it's familiar to me, certainly it's familiar to you. But I think one of the things I heard, Anna, is, excuse me, is that your husband is scared. And he is afraid of losing you. And so sometimes when people are afraid of losing, they pull the ripcord.
They push people away.
And
it's
they
the
push
craziest
people
thing.
away because they want to end the tension that they feel. And so, and they prematurely push them away, or they try and sabotage the relationship. And so I would really talk to your husband, whether you continue on in your divorce or not, and just get him to talk to you about really being scared, his insecurity, because perhaps these were also some of the drivers that drove him to porn, so that he could find relief from the pain he was feeling in his life. Jill, what would you add to that?
Well, I'm just thinking, in that being scared, I agree with you, right? And so, but it's like he would rather believe his assumptions than get help. And so along the lines of, it seems like you are so hurt or so full of your feelings, right, that is becoming what you are holding on to as fact. Instead of us relationally sorting this through and really sorting out what's reality and what's not. So what's going on with you that you're creating this narrative,
right,
that you want to defend and hold on to?
So in this emotionally abusive atmosphere, Anna, that you describe, you can take control of that by filing for divorce, or you can take control of that by asking the questions Jill asked. What's really going on here? What's really happening? And do you want to stay stuck there? Because the sad part, Anna, is if he doesn't figure it out with you and learn to correct his fear and paranoia, he'll carry it on into other relationships, and he will continue to be miserable.
Right. Well, and the other piece to that, he could be having another relationship.
He could be. That's a
and
good
projecting
point.
that onto you, Anna, because people do that. Or contemplating having another relationship.
Yes. And I can usually come to him and talk to him, and I can pull him out, and we can be good for a week or two, and then boom, he just creates another fight. I saw you looking at the guy in the restaurant. I can't believe you do that to me. And then I'm just back to like, oh my gosh, I'm not doing that. I love you. And he's just done. And then it's just this constant roller coaster. And so I agree. And I've said to him, I've said those things like, I just believe this is from the past. I believe it's insecurities. And he was getting help. There were times like he almost felt like God killed him 2 months ago when he was going to divorce me. And he's like, God's making it totally clear to me, I can't divorce you. And so he was good there. He got some help. He actually did some stuff to kind of help with past trauma. And then he had to stir up the wall. Nope, not doing that anymore. You don't love me. And so it's like, oh, Lord. And so I do feel like in my counsel, and I read that book, Love Must Be Tough by Dr. Dobson. And I do feel very strongly in my prayer time that I am to just divorce, like if there's any chance to restore, to maybe help shock him. Like, you are choosing this, and it's going to destroy your marriage because of your thinking process that you won't let go of.
Anna, how hard was your husband's childhood?
It was hard. His dad was present but not, and drank and rejected him. And I feel like that's what's going on. And when he went to Every Man's Battle, he said, that is all about my dad. That it was 100% dad issues.
Well, Anna, you're describing your husband as being ambivalent and preoccupied and ambivalent, that he's hot one minute, cold the other, warm in one direction and freezing in the other direction, loving you one minute, hating you the next. So that ambivalence is well known in the counseling world. And but my feeling is that he may not have gotten or has found someone that can address that with him, which he needs to do and understand. It's a common trait, and it would drive you nuts, Anna, because you're saying, I'm doing my best. Why does he switch on a dime. Why is he Dr. Jekyll one minute and Mr. Hyde the other? So I empathize, but you're right. Until he figures out that this isn't all his dad may have been a part of this, but he is bearing the wounds and he is bearing the limitations of that history. And until he takes charge of it, he's not going to be able to do anything about it. It's going to rule him, and it's going to keep him on the roller coaster. And that's the question. Do you want to stay on that roller coaster? I'd love it if you guys could get to our workshop in Washington, D.C. in July. Tell him I suggested he come.
Well, and what does he think if he gets you out of the way? Does he think that that's going to bring him relief?
Yeah. And often, Jill, when a person does, they think, well, there's a more idealized person out there that I won't have these feelings with.
Right.
And so they create this fantasy as to what they think.
Or even if I'm alone, I won't have these feelings.
Well,
right?
Yes.
Yeah, because he's been ratcheting up the gaming. Like, he gets home and he games now for like 4 or 5 hours, and then I go to bed, and whether he looks at porn or not, only God knows and him. But the gaming has gotten so out of control too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Anna, okay, you're saying he's kind of not willing to do anything. If he were to get in with a good therapist, a male therapist, that, as Milan is suggesting. Also, adult children of alcoholic groups and their materials are really good. They're kind of underrated. People don't always talk about that 12-step group. But that's another place where he could go that's anonymous, that he could get some input.
What book would you suggest?
Send him How We Love, because I rarely recommend our own book, but I'm going to do it right here because he has a whole chapter devoted to him, Anna, of that behavior you're discussing.
Okay, so also the 7-minute marriage solution talks, he's not at this point maybe wanting to save the marriage, but I think Steve outlined some things, and one of the things is that paranoia about affairs and things like that, and how that destroys a marriage by projecting that on.
Good idea.
We'll get those sent off. Thank you. Before we go to the next caller, I just wanted to tell our audience that when you sign up for Club New Life, we have a new thank you gift. We're going to give away 6 things when you sign up. A New Life grocery tote, devotional called 100 Days of Peace, a New Life journal, the Restoration Bible, 7 Ways to Choose Healing. It's a little book. And then Growth Has No Boundaries, which is an excerpt from How People Grow. So those 6 things when you sign up for Club New Life, which is $30 a month. It's a mainstay for us. It helps more people than you can imagine. So I want to encourage you to please sign up. If you're an existing member, if you would increase your giving by $10 a month, we'll send that kit to you. We're calling it the Time with God kit, just to give you a little more time with God.
The journal is really beautiful.
It is.
And it's just very, very nice. This is not... But Club New Life is really a way to provide to New Life a consistent support base every month, because it costs a lot of money to be on the radio. And so for you to be able to know as president what kind of money you can is to
have something we can count on. I know we'll be there.
Right.
It's been amazing, especially through the pandemic.
Right. So
God bless everybody who is part of Club New Life. Thank you. I want to go and talk to it's like Paler. Paler in Vancouver, California. I didn't know there was a Vancouver, California. Watches on YouTube. Hello, Peter. How can we help you?
Hello.
That's it, Peter.
Pilar. It's
Pilar.
probably Pilar.
I'm sorry, I misread that on the call screen.
Hi.
Oh,
hello, Mr. Larry. It's actually Paler. Paler.
Thank you.
And I'm from Vancouver in Canada.
CA, it says.
That's Canada,
we're
not
getting it
California.
all mixed up.
CA is Canada, and CA
Sorry, we're just
is
Californians,
California.
and all. That's all we see, right?
Okay, Marie, tell us your question. We just got about a minute before break. Can you pose your situation and question in a minute?
We'll come back.
Yes. Should I ask a question now?
Yeah, sure. Tell us what's going on.
Well, I just want to express first, like, how grateful I am to get a hold of you guys. And my question for today is, I was in a whirlwind courtship, marrying someone whom, right after our marriage, I found out that he is a very abusive individual. And I left him for my safety and went back to Canada. Specifically, my question is, I'm really confused as to moving on and pursuing to even go for friendly dates with other individuals, or should I just make efforts to see whether I can salvage our marriage?
Okay, we'll be right back and answer that.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit it's addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have Christ-centered partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I did go to Take Your Life Back. That's why I continue to support the ministry with the hope that not only am I helping my own situation, that I'm helping others as well.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of the 8 books in the Arterburn Wellness series, including Understanding and Loving a Person with Attention Deficit Disorder and Understanding and Loving a Person with Sexual Addiction. Plus, there are ongoing benefits like access to the Club New Life video library, the monthly Club New Life CD or download, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
All right, now.
Okay, we're back, and we're talking to...
Hello.
Hello. Yes, Paler, Milan, and Jill have been talking about your situation. I think Milan's got a couple comments.
Paler, this is really a difficult situation, but I think you gave me a real, and Jill, all of us, a key piece of information when you said you got caught up in a whirlwind romance. And this guy just swept you off your feet, and I'm guessing he was almost overwhelming in his intensity and his passion, his romance, and all that stuff. And you know what? For some people who are like this are very controlling, and they can be immensely positive on the front end, but they have the capacity to switch to the polar opposite on the other end. That's why I never fully trust highly intense people. I don't trust extreme people. I shy away from extremism of all sorts, including romance, because it can flip on a dime. You know, the switch can flip. So, if you're asking, how do I salvage this? Part of the question would be, okay, if I am going to be with this man, I really need to slow down and ask myself the question, and have him ask himself the question, who are you? What are you? What is your history? Why are we together? And if we're going to stay together, it better be healthy. which means you have to help him understand, and you have to decide, will I tolerate his extremism? And he's got to learn to live in the middle of the room, not on the ceiling or on the floor. And that's something before you said, I do again. Otherwise, if he's still on the ceiling and floor, metaphorically speaking, he could end up being abusive 5 minutes after he's loving you to pieces. So, Jill, what are your thoughts?
and Paler, I'm curious. You ran, you fled, went back home. Is that because he's so abusive, or because you're a runner? And so important to look at that, because, and then in the same sentence, you're talking about dating versus reconciling. And I think before dating even enters the picture, you have to make a decision about your marriage, because it's not, flip a coin. What do I choose? No, it's like, is there something here to save? Is this man willing to get help? Does he take any responsibility for his part in the downfall of the relationship? Is he willing to get some help, right? How responsive, receptive is he? When you have some distance between you, how do you guys communicate? Right? Does he come across controlling, or is he humbled by the fact that you left? Are you with me on this, Taylor? Do you?
Well, the questions you've had basically takes me back to kind of like processing in terms of like, I left for my safety right after I've discovered that he's cheating on me, and we were barely married. The reason specifically I left, it's because of my safety, because he started in the past, which I did not know about, or maybe I refused to believe, because I did ask whether he's using drugs, and then it wasn't until after I've learned that he was cheating on me. At the same time, he was also using drugs with his drug cheat partner, and that really I fear for my safety, because I didn't really know, like I didn't really know what to do next. So I went back home. I went back up here in Vancouver just to do some thinking, and in terms of like I did after some time, after over 6 months, I reached out to him to see what he thinks of where will we go, and I felt, I'm sensing that I don't know what he's thinking, if I'm being honest. I don't know if he thinks he wants to salvage this, and I really had hopes and dreams with this marriage. I'd never been married before, and at the age of, in my 40s, wherein I got this one proposal from this man, I took up on it and see whether, this could be a restart of a brand new married life with this person. And
it's hard to let those go. It's confusing, because it's what you wanted, and yet the person you are with, I mean, he's an addict, Paler. Right? You don't even really know who he is, because if he's on drugs and cheating, then he's just running to anything that'll make him feel good. Right? And so there isn't really a relationship unless he can own those behaviors, see it as a problem, and is willing to get help for it. It's not just a decision of should you go back or not, right? What's he willing to do?
I think how we love is in order here, would you say?
Yes, and Paler, you do have a biblical grounds for a divorce here. Yeah. He's been unfaithful, and one of the things you're going to have to consider, realizing he did make a proposal to you, and it was so important for you to be in a marriage that, okay, I can start over again. I could literally start over again and look for a better man. And I think that would be something you really need to do.
Thank you for calling, Baylor. We'll get How We Love off to you, and we'll be back right after this.
I feel blessed to have had this opportunity for my needs to be met, connecting with other women who are fighting the same fight, hoping for healthy marriages and growing closer to the Lord on their journey.
My name is Shelly Martinkus, and I want to personally invite you to the Restore Workshop. If you have been affected by betrayal, it might be that your husband has been looking at pornography, it might be an emotional, physical affair. I would love for you to come join us.
I feel encouraged and hopeful that even in my struggle, I am enough.
You will leave with hope, with a community of sisters ready to support you, and you will also leave with tools to move you forward on this journey.
Through the sharing in our small group, I realize that I am not alone.
Please don't hesitate. Pick up the phone, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. I would love to see you there.
The Restore Workshop is coming to Dallas, Texas, June 25th through the 27th. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to find out more. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addictions, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
You guys are awesome. You're a blessing to America.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first step toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, please call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433.
We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Okay, we're back. And before we go to another caller, I just wanted to announce that we've switched from a daily broadcast of Going Deeper with Steve Arterburn to a weekly version. And that premieres this Wednesday at 5 o'clock Eastern Time on our YouTube channel. So I hope you can tune into that. Let's go and talk with Maddie. Maddie is on line 4, and she's from L.A., listens on KKLA. Hello, Maddie. How can we help you?
Oh, hello. Good morning. Thanks for taking the call. I know maybe like a month ago you had someone on that was talking about marriages that have problems with like violence and those type of things. Oh. And so it kind of, I didn't hear that program. I just heard part of it, the end part. But just kind of wondering, because I was married long ago, and that was the essence of the marriage, violence and a lot of talking down to the person. So I was just wondering, what could I do so many years later to like empower myself or help myself during that, after the divorce? Well, I didn't date for years because I had 2 young kids. So I didn't date for like 12 years. And then when I did date, I dated someone that was in ministry, and so, oh, we should talk and things. Okay, so we talked, and then fast forward a couple of years later, he married somebody else that I knew. So I'm just wondering, what is wrong with me? What is my issue? What is the whatever, I don't know. So I would just, if there's anything or any ideas.
You're looking for healing from a past abusive relationship, right?
I would think, I thought I had went through that, but I guess apparently I haven't. Well, I read scriptures, and I do.
Maddie, we can think that because a person is in ministry, there's going to be something remarkably different in this relationship.
Yeah.
And we can put hopes into something based upon sort of a stereotypical idea we have of this individual. But the good news is that he made a decision to go in a different direction than what you wanted. And the good news is that you aren't with somebody right now who doesn't want to be with you. That would be very, very difficult. And
right, that's its own kind of abuse,
which
right?
is its own kind of abuse. Somebody that is sort of
not loving,
and they're kind of in, they're kind of out, and so on and so forth. And so I think that one of the things you may want to do, Maddie, is spend some time with somebody that could help you really look at your history and really stop and ask the questions, what from my history is still holding on or animating or a part of who I am? I've met with many people, male and female, Maddie, who we spent months talking about how did they choose, how did they pick, how did they decide, how they make decisions on who was healthy and who was not healthy. And and I think it would be really helpful if you could do something like that.
Well, yeah, there are reasons why we end up in abusive relationships. I'm not saying it's your fault, but we're attracted to certain types of people. And like you were saying, Milan, it's part of our histories colliding, right? So sometimes we go in naively and hopeful, and our issues just fit perfectly like a puzzle for someone else. And when that person is an abuser, you have to ask yourself those questions. And what happens then, too, over the course of an abusive relationship is your spirit gets beaten down. Who you are gets beaten down. You start to doubt yourself, and it creates a lot of, low self-worth. And Maddie, I can even hear in your voice, there's just this sadness there, a sadness, maybe feelings of being really down. And that then can be perpetuating, right? When you carry that unresolved grief, people feel that. And it's not as enlivening. And so if you're bringing that in, most people don't want to come in and rescue a person. Right?
Sure.
Healthy people don't want to come in and rescue. And so we have to rescue ourselves regardless of what happened to us. And that means going and getting involved in some help, some therapy, and bringing your sadness there. I mean, we contain sadness all day long. We help people grieve. We help people with chronic depression. And when you're able to have a place to share that, it lightens your load, as well as learning where you got stuck, where you got tripped up. And then as you lighten your load, you attract people who are in a better spot as well.
That makes sense. Because
Maddie, what else
I was married.
Go ahead.
The person I was married to, I didn't see those things while we were dating. Everything was completely different, and then once we got married, it was a whole different thing.
I'm so sorry. Who is Maddie outside of marriage? Do you have a definition of yourself other than seeing yourself in a role being married to someone? Do you have a definition of who's Maddie?
Mostly a helper.
Okay. And do you have places? Others. Oh, that's great. Do you have places where you do that?
Church.
Good. The more you can work on developing yourself in giving and finding a place of purpose is very much going to enliven you when you realize that, okay, this marriage didn't work and the person I was dating didn't work, but I have a real purpose to my life. And so I have meaning every day. And sometimes, it's interesting that sometimes when we're living out our purpose, we bump into people that we can end up meeting and finding a camaraderie that we have because we have a heart that wants to serve and help others. So, Maddie, you sound like a really good person, and I really enjoy being able to talk to you, and I'm glad you're helping people. I really am. I think maybe Take Your Life Back would be a great book for
I think
her.
so.
I want to recommend too, Maddie, you consider our emotional freedom workshop. It's going to be online.
That would be great.
It's going to be in August. So hang in there till August, sign up for that workshop, and we'll send you Take Your Life Back. Okay, I want to read a testimony for the Restore workshop a week from this weekend.
And Restore is for who?
Restore is for women who have suffered betrayal.
Okay.
Whose hearts are broken. We usually say it's for the wives of the guys that go to every man's battle. Thank you for asking. And this is this is why we ask you folks to support us, because we see these kinds of life changes. Before coming to the workshop, I felt like I was on a roller coaster, one day up, one day down. I had no confidence in standing for what I think should be. Everything was a secret. I was incredibly burdened, carrying my husband's issues, covering for and protecting him. It was exhausting, depressing, and debilitating. This weekend's been miraculous, truly. It has given me tools, hope, and connection. It's been a game changer, and I'm returning home stronger and determined. I'm leaving the workshop with a network of sisters and the confidence that I deserve to work on me. If you're struggling with your husband's sexual infidelity, do not hesitate to come to this workshop. Jump in. Though it's been scary, it's the most amazing experience of my life. So, ladies, this is a workshop. Shelley Martinkus leads it. Her husband leads Every Man's Battle. They have designed this to help, first, you restore your heart, your healing. Second, if your marriage is still savable, so to speak, if you're still in discussions and you think you can restore your marriage, that's our hope. But if that's not the case, come anyway, because we want to help you first and most of all. So that's coming up. And folks, that's why we ask for your support. Our workshops are not solutions in and of themselves. They're jumping off points. They're the beginning of work that you have to do. They're beginning of relationships you need to build. So we just ask for your support so we can continue to do what we do. And we think we're doing it pretty well. God is blessing and honoring New Life. And we're going to keep at it as long as you are helping us. So we'll be back right after this for another call.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn from New Life Live, and Chris Williams and I are doing the Emotional Freedom Workshop. I don't know of anybody that wouldn't benefit from emotional freedom. We're all bound or stuck or struggling in some area. What are we going to do there, Chris?
Just really help people get clarity around the places where they're stuck in their life. They sort of circle the same mountain of disappointment over and over and over again. You're going to be able to see that mountain clearly and get to a new place of what we call emotional freedom, which is simply, I can feel in the world, build a relationship to it, and know what to do with my experiences.
The New Life Emotional Freedom Workshop is Saturday, August 14th. Steve Arterburn and Chris Williams will present information on trauma, depression, codependency, and more. And small group leaders will help you process the information you learn. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or register online at newlife.com.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I turned on New Life, and the topic that day was about anxiety. And just by listening, I got relief.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of the 8 books in the Arterburn Wellness series, including Understanding and Loving a Person with Depression and Understanding and Loving a Person with Alcohol and Drug Addiction. Plus, there are ongoing benefits like access to the Club New Life video library, the monthly Club New Life CD or download, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Yeah, she's tall.
Okay, welcome back. And thank you for being with us. We got another call we want to take. I just want to remind folks, tomorrow Dr. Daniel Amen will be a guest host with Steve and Sherry Keffer. And it'll be a good time to call if you have questions about the brain. Okay. I don't know why that struck me funny, but it did.
If you have questions about the brain,
yeah,
you've got to use your brain to think
That's
of
right.
questions about the brain, right?
Okay, we are going to go and talk with Michelle. Michelle's in Nashville, Tennessee, and listens on Sirius XM. Hello, Michelle. How can we help you?
Hello. Thanks for taking my call. I've been married for 17 years, and I recently found out that my husband was abusing drugs, specifically methamphetamine, for 1 year. And unbeknownst to me, I caught him, and, he's quit cold turkey. He says that it's not a problem, that he can quit. I ended up buying some drug tests, and he has taken those willingly and passed. But he doesn't want to seek help. He says he is completely in control of it. But I feel so betrayed because for a year it was going on, and there was a lot of signs looking back now. His demeanor, he was pretty verbally abusive to me. We have children that he even would snap and be very, not his typical self. And he said it was because he had a lot of stress in his life, and that was just something to cope. Never, ever would I had guessed that would be the truth, that I would live one day. We are very active in church, kind of, if you want to picture it as a picturesque suburban family. We don't have that history in our immediate families or anything like that. It's just been very heartbreaking to me to have to deal with that. However, it explained a lot because for probably about the last year, it just was almost to the point where I had to make a decision. Although I didn't want to leave him, I just was at my wit's end.
So summarize your question for us.
So he doesn't want to seek help. He thinks that, he can completely quit cold turkey and it's not an issue. He does take the drug test for me just kind of randomly when I do that.
And your question would be?
That should I seek, him getting help in a rehab, a group, even though that's not something that he's really wanting or willing to do. I just feel like, is it good enough to go on his word that he can quit cold turkey without assistance?
Well, Michelle, I'm so sorry. It never feels good when our partners have a secret life. And, that's what he's been doing. It's interesting. Most people don't start drug use with meth. And so I'm wondering if he's had a history of drug use in the past, or does he abuse prescription drugs? Does he have excessive behavior in other areas?
He maybe some marijuana that I was aware of, just off and on, but nothing nothing to my knowledge prior to that. I think it was a coworker that I asked him where it was introduced, and it was from a coworker.
Oh, okay. So, because that is, like I said, that's jumping in pretty hardcore.
Yes.
So he's saying he'll just stop it, and yet the reasons why he started it haven't really been addressed. So now he's caught. Right. See, if he hadn't been caught, wouldn't he have kept using? Like I agree with that statement. The intervention is you caught him, and so now, oh, okay, I won't do it anymore. But that doesn't really solve the problem, because drug use is a symptom of a deeper problem. It takes on a life of its own and then becomes a problem in and of itself, but it doesn't start that way. And part of it too is the lying and the double life, right? Doing things you have to lie about. So the getting of help isn't just for him, whether he thinks he needs it or not. It's to address the fact, just like the drug tests, that you feel betrayed and that you need him to get help in order to restore some trust in the marriage, right? Because left to his own devices, this is what he chose. So why would you use that as the solution? And there's lots of different ways to get help. One introduction to getting help, what if he met with an addiction specialist, an MD, that's all they do is addiction medicine. And at least get him involved in that, someone who can speak to him about his addiction and what it takes, as well as some interventions to curb that for him. Right?
Milan, what would you add before we
Well, I agree with everything Jill just said. And I would also say, Michelle, you sound fearful. You sound fearful that, can I just accept his word and go with it? But it's far more than just this addiction. The addiction is a symptom, as Jill already said, of a deeper issue. If he's been smoking pot along the way, he's also using other things to calm his stress, to manage his internal angst and pain, and he's self-medicating. So no matter how the meth got introduced to him, that's kind of beside the point. The point is he's susceptible. Then he was abusive. He was angry. You were thinking of a divorce. So if you were to say, I'm getting a separation, or create some very firm boundary that says you must go through a process of proving to me and to the kids that the deeper issues are being addressed, because he's just minimizing you and blowing you off is all he's doing, Michelle.
Yeah.
But then one of the things where you need some help is being able to ask the question, how afraid am I of confronting this situation? Or should I just settle? Now, your settling question, should I just settle for this? First of all, you shouldn't be the policeman doing the drug tests on him. You don't want to put yourself into that role. But it sounds like he wants the marriage, but I think you have the ability to negotiate if you have the courage. And a lot of times in situations like this, Michelle, we don't have the courage. I would suggest you get some help to help you develop that adult voice that says, here's what I'll stand for, and here's what I require. And I think that's another important step for Michelle.
What book would you send Michelle?
Take Your Life Back.
Okay, that's coming your way, Michelle. Thank you for calling. I want to close with a real quick, before I close, 800-229-3000. We will be here another hour. So keep calling, and if you're on hold, stay over the break, and we'll get to your call after the break. I keep asking that the God of our Lord Jesus Christ, the glorious Father, may give you the spirit of wisdom and revelation so that you may know him better. That's a goal that we have. We want you to know Christ better. We want you to live in relationship with him, and we want you to see what he wants you to do, taking next steps of faith, taking action, and not just praying and reading scripture and thinking that will take care of it. We'll be back.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, thank you for watching New Life Live. You know, New Life Live is a Christian counseling program where we deal with the hard questions about life, relationships, kids, free choice, freedom of will, whatever. It's all right there on New Life Live every day, every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you want to call into the live broadcast, you can find the schedule on newlife.com or click the social media link right below. You can see every episode of New Life Live on the New Life YouTube channel. Watch it with a friend, watch it later. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you'll never miss another episode. So if you want to listen on the go, download the app. The link is right below. And I hope if you need some information, if you want to get some help, you'll call us at 1-800